Welcome to Betting on Success, a podcast that dives into the future of gaming with a focus on cashless technology. Hosted by Mark Morton, aka Morty. From cashless innovations to incredible career stories, this is where gaming professionals stay ahead. Betting on Success is brought to you by your friends at Marker Tracks and Coin, leading the way in cashless gaming.
Hi, this is Mark Morton, and welcome to Betting on Success. I have the luck today of having one of the true leaders of our industry. Someone, when I think about him, I think of visionary, innovator, lateral thinker, which I don't know if that's a word yet. I looked it up today, and I think it is. The president and CEO of American Gaming Systems, Mr. David Lopez. David,
thanks for
joining us
Appreciate
today.
It. Thanks.
You bet. Ready to have a little fun?
Thanks for providing your daughters into
I know.
this world.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking care of them.
No, they're awesome.
Yeah, it's a little bit noisier, I'm sure, over there than it is.
They're a little bit on the higher volume side of things. Yeah,
Exactly.
They turn it up.
Yeah, they do.
Turn it up.
They do.
But I love that. So
yeah, it's great. Thank you very much for taking care of them too.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah.
So, well, thank you for being here today. Let's start about a little bit of background on where you're from, your family, those sorts of things.
Yep. So I grew up in Troy, New York.
Yep.
Mom and dad, 2 sisters, no brothers, right?
Okay. Yep.
So that probably tells you a lot about me somehow, right? In touch with my feminine side.
Yeah.
Don't like hanging out with dudes.
Yeah.
Like football night.
Yeah.
Guys trips. What's that?
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I grew up there. Public school guy.
Yeah.
Didn't do any private school. Parents probably couldn't afford it anyways. And did a little bit of community college in New York.
Yep.
I'm a product of the community colleges, and
So am I, by the way.
That's where it all starts,
yeah.
right? And little military, Army National Guard. I was a tow gunner, which is anti-tank weapons, and then back out into school. Boom! I got back to New York, and I said, "Hey, I got to move." Just the environment wasn't conducive for me to grow.
Yep.
So I came to a real pristine and sinless city called Sin City, in Las Vegas, and so that's where it all sort of started. So
gaming not to start, or how did you get in the gaming industry?
I got into the gaming industry because my sister Elisa worked at MGM Grand.
Okay.
And she was like employee 7 back before the Grand opened. They hired like a zillion employees, 8,000 employees or something like that. And so she said, I can get you a job. So there's a funny story in there that we probably can't talk about. But she got me an interview. I started in the warehouse. So I went warehouse. I went inventory control. I went accounting. And then I spent enough time. Yeah.
Accounting.
Face,
yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
So I was in accounting. I was staff accountant. I got to a point where I'm like, this sucks. I do not want to do this. I'm just keeping score. And it's nice to look at a scoreboard, but I don't want to keep score for a living, right?
Yeah.
So I took a pay cut and, I guess job title cut. I went to Stratosphere, and I worked selling Danny Gans tickets.
Okay.
I'm just sitting across the counter.
Yeah.
And selling Danny Gans tickets. Nobody knew who the fuck he was. Or sorry.
Right.
They didn't know who he was.
Yes.
And so that was interesting. We had play videos of him giving away tickets to Danny Gans, believe it or not. And then he got hot.
Yeah.
And then he got hot. So I was working for them. I ended up doing reports for the marketing guy, Tom Willer.
Okay.
Good guy, awesome guy. And I did it long enough that he said, you're going to go make something of your life because this isn't it.
Stratosphere wasn't the end of the road.
It was a terrible job.
Yeah.
I was just doing this work for him.
Yeah.
And he literally demanded that I go put in a resume at Shufflemaster. How about that?
Wow.
I mean, I'm Forrest Gump, dude.
Right.
I'm not a genius. I'm not an innovator. I'm not all those things you said. I'm just, lucky son of a bitch that was sitting there when everything happened, right?
Yeah.
And he had me go there, and I got hired by Brooke Dunn and Mark Yosloff, Joe Lottie.
Yeah, some great names.
And, you know these guys.
Yep.
And they hired me as a marketing analyst. So I think I started 26 grand as a marketing analyst.
Yeah.
And I had something 16, 17 positions over 14 years or something like that. It was growing. So
yeah.
It was the right place that if you wanted to make something of your career, You know, you had Mark in particular, Joe in the beginning, but Mark in particular would just like pile shit on your back like a mule and wait for your knees to buckle. And if they don't buckle, he just keeps giving you more, more. You know, Mark was a real sensitive guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, so he just went after it, right? Results-oriented management, 100%.
So he was one of the first guys I met in the business. So
Really?
when I started at Bally in 1991, Mark eventually ended up there is either as a consultant or something along those lines. He was a super smart guy. I mean,
Major.
I've read some stuff about you and the impact he had on, I mean, your whole career.
Me. Yeah. I might have said it in an interview.
Yeah.
I mean, so Mark is an interesting cat. Like we're cut from different cloth, right? Like Mark's not exactly the culture guy. I know he's listening.
Yeah.
He's not really the culture guy. He's a results guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about anything else but results. I was fortunate because I was super young and, you know, everybody was intimidated by him. But when I got like my product manager, it wasn't even a product manager, it was a product specialist position.
Yeah.
I started to like seek his advice. So I'd go into his office that nobody wanted to go into. Right. And I'd go in there, I'd be like, well, dude, this guy's smart. I'm going to ask him a question. I think after a while, he's like, hey, this doofus is smart enough to come in here and ask questions. I'm going to help him out. And quite honestly, long story short, Mark treated me like a son. Like nothing other than a son. I was given special treatment.
Yeah.
He tore my face off plenty of times. Like, and, you know, I have people that can attest to it. I have witnesses, right? But he, you know, I was like a test tube baby for him, right? I was young. I didn't know anything. You know, I graduated from UNLV with like a 2.7 or something like that.
Higher than my grade point average.
Was it really?
Oh, yeah.
I did better?
Yeah, you did. You did.
All right. I'm killing it. So Mark just like, you know, there's a lot of people I owe my career to, and Mark's one of them.
Yeah.
Mark's one of them.
From a professional standpoint, Mark was impactful.
Huge.
How about from a personal perspective? Somebody within your family that kind of shaped you as well.
Oh, I mean, my mom, you know, we're like a matriarch type, you know, family. Same thing, my family now. Lisa, you know, she runs shit, you know. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? But mom I had a great dad. I mean, he was a computer programmer and, you know, cool and play catch and do all the things that a dad does, right? Yeah. But mom ran the show.
Right.
And she had a catering business. I was just telling someone the other day, like, my mom she was teaching me deal making early on. I was in kindergarten. And I said, I want that X-Wing fighter, little die cast, you know, thingy like that. I'm trying not to use F word shit.
Yeah. It's okay.
So you guys can bleep them out. So die cast thing, and I'm begging. She finally goes, I'll do a deal with you. No more allowance.
Right.
And you can have it. I go, for how long? She goes, forever. I said, deal.
Yeah.
That was a bad deal.
Right.
That was a bad deal. I gave up allowance for the rest of my life. But I got that X-Wing fighter, and the first day I brought it into school, some kid broke the hood off of it.
Right.
Man, I was crying, and I was like, can we get a new one? She's like, no.
Yeah.
And you ain't got any allowance to buy it for yourself, so good luck with that. But that was my mom.
Yeah.
She wasn't, she spoiled me. I'm her favorite, by the way. You know,
well, of course, you're the only boy, 100%. Right? Yeah, right? That's the way it works.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. And so she spoiled me in every way but monetary things.
Yeah.
She did not give me anything like along the way.
Right.
And where she did give it to my sisters. But she always said, I know you'll figure it out. That was her thing.
Yeah.
So I started working for her when I was like 12.
Yeah.
You know, you mop the floors, you do dishes, then you you're cutting vegetables, then you're cooking meals.
Right.
But you know, when you're cutting meals, you're cutting veggies, you're mopping the floors, you're doing dishes. You don't ever get out of dish duty when you work for your mother.
Right.
And by the way, child labor laws don't apply when it's family business. I found that out as a kid. So that was awesome. I always had money. I always had money because, you know, I was working. And but you know, when you're working, when your mom's getting you up at like 7 or 6 a.m., 7 o'clock in the morning, and you're working until 10 at night, and you're working 11 at night, and you're like 12.
Yeah.
You know, you learn some shit in a hurry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because, I'll go short on the story, but my mom one day hit me in the face with a spoon while she's she's throwing things into the sink, and they were talking spoon,
right,
not spoon,
right.
spoon. And I got pissed. I said something probably completely inappropriate to her, and I said I quit.
Right.
I went upstairs to our house.
Yeah, right.
She came upstairs. She sat down, and she goes, "Get your ass back downstairs." Yeah. And she's like, "Come on." I said, "Are you going to say you're sorry?" She's like, "I didn't mean to do it." I go, "That's not sorry."
Yeah.
But that was my mom.
Yeah, no, that's
that
great.
was my mom. Tough love. And all those deals she cut with me, I have 10 examples along the way. But by the time I was a freshman in high school, she said, "I'm not buying any clothes anymore either." It was because I bought a pair of Nike Air Revolutions on my own.
Yeah.
And she basically said, "You're done.
Yeah.
You're done. If you can afford that, you can buy your own damn clothes." So anyways, mom is...
Yeah.
I think moms are probably the case in most cases, right?
Yeah, especially with boys, right? I mean, when you have...
hell yeah.
That's the key piece.
Yep.
So you said you were in the military, 7 years in the military.
Yeah, that's all National Guard, yeah.
Okay. So what did you learn off of that experience?
Same thing. You
Yeah.
know, like, honestly, like, if you take Mark, if you take in order, my mom, the military, Mark, so my mom, drill sergeants, Mark...
Yeah.
Mark's a drill sergeant. Mom was a drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Drill sergeants were drill sergeants.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, I mean, just there's no excuses.
Right.
And my mom would be like, I really don't care what it takes to get it done. Just fucking get it done.
Just
get it done.
Yeah.
And she'd leave me that at like 13 years old. And I was like, and I didn't think of anything. I didn't think of it at the time. Like, hey, that's a lot for a 13-year-old.
Right.
Especially these days. Right.
Yeah.
And, but that pressure that she put on me was like leadership pressure early on that I had to figure it out. Like, if you got 13 spaces in the oven, but you have 16 pans, how do you figure that one out?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she made me figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of things that
Yeah.
you learn a lot about cooking and timing and all this different shit. So
Yeah.
she was awesome.
So I said you were a lateral thinker, which I just looked that up today. Again, I know that means you think out of the box. I learned that today.
Okay. Out of the box thinker? Yeah, I might be that sometimes. Yeah.
You are. You've done some things within the business that I've seen at AGS firsthand. Like, for instance, Game On. I want to talk to you about Game On for a second. So I've gone to probably in my career, David, I don't know, 40 caps, right?
Yeah.
I always left them either hungover or bored, or sometimes both.
Both, yeah.
Yeah. But when I left that, I felt smarter. Tell me your idea behind that.
So you're going to ask me a lot of questions today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to evangelize for other people because that had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
The only thing I have to do with anything you're going to talk about
Yeah.
is that I believe if I have a skill, it's hiring talent.
Right.
Period. End of story. That probably is where it ends.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like, there's leadership that goes on every day and whatnot, but like Julia Boguslavsky Hemberger, right? Some know her one way and some know the other. So Jules she came in at AGS and, she was there like, I don't know, 2 weeks, 2 months, something. I'd worked with her a long time before. And she said, hey, I want to do a customer event. I said, we're not doing customer events. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
We will not do them. I'm not like this whole idea of like bring in customers, give them Jay Leno, ask them a shit ton of questions about your product, change your product and charge them for it.
Right.
A genius idea. We're not doing it though. Like maybe I was stupid for not doing that, but I didn't see it. And I said, they're all just boondoggles. They don't serve a lot of purpose. I'm biased, right? But she goes, no, this is going to be different. Think like TED Talks, think like educational, think not gaming stuff, and think like we're just like honoring our customers. We're paying them back.
Right.
We're going to give them something. We're not going to give them Jay Leno or Charles Barkley couldn't afford it, by the way.
Right, yeah.
But we're not going to give them that. We're going to give them an experience that is like nothing they've had before, right? And she did it. I mean, listen, I always say, and she gets pissed at me because, sometimes I cut her budget year over year.
Yeah.
And, which she just despises me for.
Yeah.
And, but they can make a quarter look like $1.
Right.
Every time. When we did our first Game On, I asked Jeff Freeman, who you probably know, hey, how much do you think this costs? He said, this had to cost like $500,000-600,000 or something. I'm like, 200. So that event is the brainchild of Julia. The only involvement I have in it is I'm super like nosy, involved, annoying with who we're going to have for speakers.
Yeah.
So like if we're going to have a speaker in there, I want that speaker to be like the nuts. I don't want some crappy speaker in there that's like people are getting bored by. And we swing and miss, but that's all the team. That's Julia and her team, and honestly, I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. So here's another thing. So before my daughters made it to AGS,
Yep.
One of the things I always heard about, and it's kind of a buzzword, and it's just always a buzzword, but I always heard about the culture, how you treated the people that are there. Tell me again why that's so important, because you really do, David, do that firsthand.
Well,
I
my
see
mom,
it all.
Mark Yoslov, and the drill sergeant told me, treat him like shit. Like, you got to treat him like shit.
Yeah.
I'm joking. But so a guy named Tim Parrott.
Yeah, no,
A
Tim.
guy you know Tim. Okay.
I knew Tim.
And I hope everybody knows Tim.
Yeah.
Tim is like the man, and like Mark also over a very short period of time before he passed away of cancer. Obviously, I hate talking about Tim because I will get choked up. So Tim was like a father figure, like that. Literally, just he has this presence.
Yeah.
But he came in and he's like, dude. He didn't say dude, but dude. We're going to focus on customers and we're going to focus on internal. So internal and external culture. We were so focused on results-oriented business, Mark Yoslov, right?
Yeah.
And Joe Lottie too, but to a greater extent, Mark. We didn't really care about culture from the top down. We had a good culture, but it wasn't something that we were really endorsing. Tim came in and he just wanted to change the way we looked at our customers, the way we looked at our internal customers, how we treated each other. And that really is probably one of the biggest influences for me. When I left Shuffle, I went to GCA, town halls, culture. That place was rabid for something like that. They were just dying, frothing at the mouth for like a culture experience. It was so, I gotta be careful, I'm gonna dogging on people here, but I was gonna say, it was so tamped down from a cultural perspective that when I went there and I was walking up to people's cubes all over the building, after a week, this guy, Gene Elder, comes to me, great shout out to one of the nicest guys I've ever met in my life. He said, hey, sir, can I come in? I'm like, stop calling me sir, you're not talking to me.
Yeah.
And he comes in, he shuts the door, and he goes, hey, you're making people nervous. And it was because I was just talking to them. I'm like, dude, I'm just talking to them.
Right.
That's all I'm doing. I want to get to know them. I want to understand them. So we worked on culture there. And I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Like you just say, we want a culture that's about the employees. We want an outward-facing culture. We want to treat our customers right. We want to do things in the community. And this thing was like a tidal wave.
Right.
And honestly, I can't take credit for it. I just said the word. That's not God. I can't make mountains and shit, right? So you just say, let's do this. And the employees just rose up all at once.
Right.
It was one of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed. It's probably one of my favorite moments in my career was that transition, that culture. But again, I didn't have anything to do with it. You know what I'm saying? It was about how these employees just said, hell yeah, let's do this. Right. And I believe that culture stood today. Now IGT and Apollo are going to screw it up, right?
Right.
That was a joke. But obviously, they're under a new hood now and all that. And I hope IGT brings some of that, every culture with them because every's got, in my opinion, a great culture right now. They really do.
So when you were first at Shuffle Master, we had a monopoly on the business more or less with the shufflers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now you go into what I'm doing right now, which that payment side of the business it's pretty dry.
Not a monopoly.
Yeah, it's no monopoly.
We were the leaders.
Yeah.
We were the leaders at GCA, but it was interesting. I didn't know anything about payments. Did you know anything about payments before you started payments?
No.
And it's horrendous, right?
Yeah.
It's they're using all these terms you never heard of before. None of them that I can remember anymore. Some people will be very disappointed in me. But, transaction codes and, all these different things.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing. So when I resigned at Shuffle, I walked into Katie Lever's office and I said, hey, I'm going to GCA to become blah, 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 president and CEO, whatever. And she goes, oh, no, honey. I'm going to say this anyways. She goes, oh, no, honey, you don't want to do that. And, in Katie's way, if she was standing, it would have been this close to my face.
Right.
Oh, no, honey, you don't want to do that. No, David. And I said, I've already accepted the job. I've already resigned. She's like, oh, boy. Hold on. Hold on, Dave. Omer, yeah, you're going to have to help him out. He's really made a bad choice. And Omer, a competitor, met with me probably weekly.
Yeah.
For weeks, at least 2 to 3 months. And you know Omer?
Yeah, I do.
He can talk. Yeah. He's like machine gun fire. He just can talk and talk and talk and talk. And he would sit and talk to me at Sunrise Coffee over on Sunset. And really good coffee, by the way. Back in the day, I don't even know if it's open. And he would talk for an hour, 2 hours, teaching me the business.
Yeah.
So the competitor was teaching me the business. And I had this happen, listen, when I was at Shuffle, a guy named Lou DiGregorio, who just passed away, by the way, and that's why I'm bringing him up. Shout out to Lou. Yeah. I keep talking about people that passed away. I'll lose it here. So he was a competitor. And he would take me to lunch. He would take me to dinner. He would take me to UNLV games, countless basketball games at UNLV. As my competitor, teach me all about the business.
Yeah.
I mean, like, do they make them like this anymore?
No.
Do they make them like this anymore? And honestly, when I look back, it's like, I'm telling you, it's like Forrest Gump shit.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know any of this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm the beneficiary of, like, amazing people around me. And I think that sorry, I'm not letting you ask a lot of questions, but
no, it's perfect.
Like, I think that if you were to ask me, like, hey, what's the goal when you hire people? They got to fit. They got to be part of they got to fit into your culture. There has to be zero politics, right? But they also have to bring life to your organization.
Yeah.
They can't come in and just be a bump on the log, right? If you go through, I mean, I mentioned Julia, like, loud and crazy.
Right.
These other two girls that work for us in sales,
Yeah.
right? Morton girls, hire people that make life louder and brighter and more colorful. Everything's happened in full color and full volume. Like you're in your car, and what's your favorite song? Like what's a good song for you? Not favorite song. That's a lot of pressure.
So I like.
There's a lot of pressure.
No, here you go. How about this one? I love Atomic Dog. How about that?
Okay, so Atomic Dog. Do you turn it up?
I turn it all the way.
Okay, so
I dance on tables, David. So you got to, yeah.
So I mean, I think that when you think about when you're hiring people, not everybody's going to be the same, right? Some people will be a little more subdued in it, but like my theory is like they need to bring shit to life at work.
Yeah.
And I know I'm mentioning them again, but like your daughters are in full color, full volume, full everything all the time, right? Yeah. And that shouldn't just be like, work, but that's life in general, right? Yeah. And you'll find that employees and people come in to your sphere, right? Into sort of your ether, and they change your life, forgetting about us changing theirs.
Right.
Forget about this leadership talk and all this leadership shit that we're trying to talk about here today.
Yeah.
Like it's about who you hire that they bring in or that we bring in, and they change your life. You're not changing theirs.
Correct.
Now you might be giving an opportunity, but they're capitalizing on it, and they're the ones bringing the loud music, in your head, and the color and the vibrance to everything we do at work. Without them, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Without those people, we walk in, we bum around, we get coffee, what time are we going to lunch, what time are we getting out of here?
Yeah, but you know, David, a lot of that is by the culture that you create because you're comfortable, I think, in that. I mean, that's the thing I saw when I walked into your office is the people were so alive and into you. It wasn't like you're
lies.
going.
All right, I'm gonna stop you. These are lies. All right, but hold on.
At least to me.
But it's lies. All right, you're not a liar, but it's lies. So somebody told you a lie. So, but I think if you look at it and say, hey, like what was my involvement, right?
Yeah.
I didn't create the culture, right?
Yeah.
If I pick one thing, just one, other than hiring people, if I pick one thing, anyone can fucking say whatever they want to me.
Right.
In any forum, in any room, in the boardroom, in front of Apollo at the time, in front of the board members, in front of Bright Star Capital Partners. If I allow them to talk to me, I know like this, like however they want and say whatever they want, then I better hear no bullshit and the rest of
Correct.
the organization.
Yeah.
That is like my rule.
Right.
Say anything. We have Julia and the team came up with say what you mean what you say, don't say it mean. And I always say that's except for the executives. We get to be mean to one another because we
Yeah.
all get to laugh at it, right?
Yeah.
But that is something that I can tell you going back to the Apollo days and David Samber, he would in our board meetings say, like, hey, do you know that Chris Morishige called you stupid during the meeting? I'm like, she didn't call me stupid.
Right.
He's like, recites the conversation. Oh, she did sort of call me stupid. That's right. I remember it now. And he's like, is this normal? And I'm like, give it some time.
Right.
Give us some time, you'll figure
Yeah.
it out. And over time, because I told him, I said, if I can let people speak openly like that,
Yeah.
do you realize how many things you, Mr. Apollo, will hear that you wouldn't have otherwise heard?
Right.
You know how many issues might percolate to the top, opportunities that percolate to the top. All these good things and bad things can percolate to the top and get to the board, get to a chairman of the board, because if we're not stifling that shit down here, if I'm not stifling, then it should flow freely throughout the whole entire organization. If I take credit for one thing, I'll take credit for letting people talk shit to me. Right? That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Everything else in culture is the people. It's all, it's all the people that we hire. So, I mean, but when you talk about culture, you go in, you sense something. That's the various people. That is, Chris Morishige. That's Blake Hill. That's.
They're giving us the cue. I think.
Are we tapping out in 5 minutes?
I think. Yeah.
So it's these employees that bring shit to life for us, and it's the Mary Beths, and it's the Amandas, and it's the Adam Whitehursts,
Yeah.
and it's the Mark Ditos, and it's the John Hebers, right, and Sigmund Lee, and all these different people that at the end of the day, they're the ones bringing it to life.
So I've got a couple things. I haven't got into you as much as I would
Yeah.
want, and they've already given us the oh yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Okay.
We're good. All
Well,
right.
hey, we're good. We're good.
Listen, this isn't CNBC. You can
just
talk
come
to us.
here.
Talk to us on the air. 10 minutes. All right. Good deal. Holy crap.
Oh shit! I got 10 minutes. That's
You got
okay
10
then.
minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, I talked too much.
No, that's perfect. No. So when you got to AGS,
Yep.
right? So now you never were around slot machines, really, right? I mean, that's something completely new and unique.
Almost.
Okay.
Almost. I'm going to give shout out to a few people. So, like Peter Wilkins, Russell Gardner, Adrian Halpenny. Now I want to tell a story about my best moment of my career, but we can wait for it. Maybe we can get it at the very end. But those three guys, like Peter Wilkins in particular, Russell. But Peter, I used to have to drive for an hour with down in Australia to work. We had a slot business. Shuffle had a slot business. 88 Fortunes.
Okay.
88
Yeah,
Fortunes.
that's right. Okay. Yep.
The birth of it. Jennifer and Ross and that team, legends now. Absolute legends now, right? And so I didn't know anything about slots then. Peter taught me like a ton. I don't know how much I retained.
Yeah.
But when I did get to AGS, I felt like I was learning it all new again. So then Sigmund Lee comes in. You know, Sigmund was so gracious. He brings me in, under the wing when we acquired Calic Jack.
Yeah.
And just treats me, like a brother, and teaches me so much about what the slot business is all about. But I did have that a little bit of exposure to the slot business.
But
Yeah. And the business went good when I came in.
I was going to say that.
Listen,
it's
as the story
tough.
goes,
Yeah.
I meet Samber, and Samber. I didn't know that Samber was a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I sort of talk to him like he was back on the block, one of my friends or something. I didn't realize he was such a big deal.
Yeah.
But he was. But he's like, hey, can you go check out the AGS booth at G2E? And so I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, I'll do it. I was with GCA and all this stuff. I'm like, all right, I'll find time. So I can see the AGS booth from far away. I'm like, all right, he wants me to go see the AGS booth. So I walk towards the AGS booth. I'm getting closer. I'm probably 50 to 100 feet away. And I go, fuck, I don't even need to go in the booth.
Right.
This is a shit show. This is the worst booth I've ever seen in my life. And these products look ancient, and just it didn't look like a company that, I would want to go work for.
Right.
And so then he tells me, oh yeah, we're confidentially, we're buying it, right? He tells me confidentially. And he had asked me about putting someone on the board, and I said, if you put that person on your board, you better have somebody that can deal with him. And you could probably do the math in this conversation of who that was.
Yeah.
And he says, well, who can deal him? I said, Roger Snow and I. That's it. Those are the only two people. That would have to be your CEOs, but I got a job. Right. You can call Roger. I'll give you his number. And I said, he didn't want a CEO job. He didn't want that mess, right? And Samber is the best salesman in the history of my life. And I mean better than all the salespeople that I've worked with that are awesome. He can convince you, to buy that cup of water as you're drowning.
Yeah, right.
Because you need it.
Yeah.
You need it. But he convinced me to join. And when there wasn't about, listen, it was a tough gig, but he made promises. You can do whatever culture you want. You can invest in the people that you want to bring on board. We're gonna put money behind this thing, and we're gonna make it a great company. Because my vision at GCA was, hey, we're gonna do these microtransactions, then we'll go a little bit bigger and bring, and we're gonna sort of like pull together products that are out there. There's a lot of companies that are products, not companies, but they're a company, so they got to become a product in another company. So that was my vision, along with Mary Beth Higgins and some others at Mary Beth Higgins. By the way,
all
that's
time.
my dog right there.
No,
I mean that is. I'm
not
lying. That Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
And I wasn't always Batman as CEO. I'm going to tell you right now. She will rip the face off some people. like she was awesome. Like literally, like a great friend, older sister. She hates to hear that. But ultimately, like, I think that, when I joined, David made all the promises. Every single one was kept.
Yeah.
And we bought and we bought and we bought. We did Cadillac Jack and we invested and we burned cash. We burned cash until he said, no more burning cash. Stop burning cash. And so, we managed stuff tight. But listen, he's an influence too. I mean, I can't leave him and Danny Cohen out of it. Danny's like a brother. David's like a brother. But these guys taught me a lot. Now I'm looking forward to Brightstar because, I anticipate, having the same relationships, and building those same kind of things with them. They're new, obviously. So we're like, 75 days into it or something. And 75 days into Apollo, I was screaming at Danny. Right. And then I was texting him memes later on in the night, and he'd say, my wife tells me this is your way of making up with me. So I'm like, in the early days, it was tough with Apollo. But they made it good on everything. The company became what it was. I'm not the visionary. I'm not the architect. That's not me. We collectively had the balls to make decisions. Yeah. And Apollo, they're one that doesn't go down. Like, they're either going to win or they're going to lose really bad. Yeah. Right? Yes. We know the examples, right? There's a book written about it. That was fun.
So let me ask you another question about you personally. I mean, obviously you have no energy, right?
Yep.
Lateral thinker, no energy at all. Right?
Yeah.
What do you like to do when you're not at work?
Well, then, listen. The family, Niners, Yankees.
Love the Niners.
Now go to my youngest son Tyson is selecting a school, so like some mix of the family. We all go with him. Sometimes one of his brothers go too. It's between Nebraska.
Yeah.
This is like a Ken Bossingham thing, by the way. I'm gonna have words with him. Something about him and his son and Nebraska. It's like, give me a break, Nebraska. No, he's going there. I'm not gonna let him. No, I'm joking. But Nebraska, Ole Miss, and Alabama. Nebraska, Ole Miss, Alabama. He probably can't make a bad choice. So that's fun.
Yeah.
A little bit of travel's fun. Put me near water. That's all that matters, right? And Negronis. Yeah. There's nothing today that happens or tomorrow or the next day that a Negroni can't fix.
Yeah, there you go.
That is a Sigmund Lee and I thing. When we have the shittest day and we're traveling together, I'll just look at him and go like, I think a Negroni can fix this. I'm rather certain. Yeah.
Let me ask you another question. So,
we're not ending on Negronis.
Segue into this one. Okay.
Thing.
All right. So here's another thing. All right. 2 questions, and then we'll be done. Promise you. So 2 questions. First question is, what would you give advice to somebody like you? No experience, worked at the strategy, bad grades, right? All that sort of, not a lateral thinker, no energy. Somebody that's coming into the business, what would you tell them to do as kind of their career? How would you tell them to, and what do you think you would do to?
There's probably a few things, man. Like, don't job hop, man.
Yeah.
Don't job hop. I know it. I know it seems like, oh, I'm going from VP to SVP or this, that, the other thing. But you're also not establishing relationships. You're not building a legacy as you jump around. So like, quit the job hopping shit, right?
Right.
Because it's really not building a legacy for yourself, right? I think that it's like, you know, I can't pick on millennials or zillennials or Gen Zs or whatever. But man, Gen X is the best generation. We already know that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no arguing. I see a thumbs down, but she's wrong.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is Gen X. Downside to Gen X, we didn't care what kind of collateral damage we created at home.
Right.
We didn't value the things that we should have enough at home, but we worked to the bone.
Yeah.
Like we would work our ass off to the bone. There's a lot of trade-offs there.
Yeah.
You know, my family knows it, right? I mean, I've been through the ringer there, you know, on the home front because of it. Work too hard, you know, work too much. Okay, but let's put that aside.
Yeah.
Work your ass off.
Yeah.
Like because when you're not working your ass off, when there's an opportunity, you're like a running back. If there's a hole in the line of scrimmage, you want to stare at it. Tell me, oh wait, I want to take a smoke break.
Yeah.
Or I want to, you know what, I want to talk about it first. Or, you know, I want you to hear my opinion on whether I should go left, right, or right down the gut where there's a giant hole. Just run through the goddamn hole.
Right.
Just run through it, right? And at full speed. And then, listen, if I say the last thing, it's like, you got to find mentors. But if I say last thing, I'll go back to the same thing I said before. Get people in your life, in this world that we work in, called work, which becomes a family. But get people in your life that are going to turn up the volume, that are going to see, you're going to see shit in full color now. And you're not just going to go into a meeting and everything's black and white and it's just a spreadsheet, right? You want to have people that will bring this vibrance and energy to your life and to the business that's going to really make a difference. And good news, bad news. Like the sad part is that I have ridden that wave of other people. Now I haven't stepped over them in the process, right? I haven't like taken these boots of mine and stepped over these bodies like they're dead.
Right.
No, but these people, I'm not a CEO if not for so many people that sort of were that ground swell or that wave underneath me to be successful. Forrest Gump.
Yeah. I love that.
I wasn't born special or anything. I think I had a lot of luck and circumstance. And when I had the opportunities, I worked hard. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. You know, I think Mark would attest to that. Mark, Joe Lottie, Brooke Dunn would say one thing they could never, say about me. I wasn't a hard worker. And so, but these people in your life, these people that bring the full color, bring the volume, bring all that shit, those are the folks that are going to make us all successful. And some of us are lucky enough to say, I'm a leader. I'm a CEO. That's the thing.
Well, David, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. I feel smarter again today and luckier. I mean, no, I think our audience is really going to like that. Just want to thank you again for being here today.
When I did my last podcast with Landon and Mike, I got a lot of views in Poland.
Yeah.
a lot of views in Poland. I wish you a lot of luck with the Polish viewers. I'm actually a quarter Polish. Yeah. So that's the interesting part.
Well, make sure you write that down so we can prop that
track
out.
Poland.
Track Poland. Okay.
But not the drones over Poland, please. Not the drones.
Everybody, thank you for being with us today. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Thanks.
That's a wrap for this episode of Betting on Success. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Stay tuned for more insights from gaming industry leaders. We'll see you next time.